You know that feeling, right? You walk into a room and bam, this wave of panic just hits you. Your heart starts pounding, you're suddenly fascinated by the carpet, and all you can think is, how on earth do I talk to any of these people? Well, you are definitely not alone. And today, we're gonna turn that networking anxiety into your absolute superpower.
Yeah, this question. It's from an article in The Muse, and it just hits home for so many of us. It's like you're standing on the edge of this, this conversation canyon, and it's completely paralyzing. But here's the thing, what if I told you there's a bridge, and you can build it one small, easy step at a time?
And look, if your social muscles feel, well, a little rusty after the last few years of remote work and endless virtual meetings, you are in very good company. Seriously, an article in Psychology Today basically says we're all a bit out of practice. But the great thing about muscles, right? You can always train them to be stronger than they ever were before.
Okay, so let's get one thing straight right from the start. This isn't just about surviving small talk. It's not about just filling that awkward silence, no. It's about building that bridge we talked about. It's about finding that little spark of a real human connection, the kind that can turn a 5-minute chat into a truly meaningful relationship, maybe even one that changes your career.
So what's the best way to conquer that fear? Simple, you walk in prepared. So let's build you a little toolbox, okay? A toolkit full of great conversation starters. Just having a few of these in your back pocket, man, it's gonna give you the confidence to walk up to anyone, anywhere. All right, first up in the toolkit, the classics. You can't go wrong with these. They're brilliant because they immediately flip the spotlight onto the other person. Think about it. They're not just questions, they're invitations. They basically say, hey, I'm actually interested in you. And that is, hands down, the fastest way to start building a real connection.
Okay, next up, just use what's right in front of you. Seriously, don't underestimate the power of your surroundings. The event itself, that's your first and easiest bit of common ground. You can comment on the venue, the speaker, or yes, even the tiny meatballs. It's such a perfect, low-risk, high-reward way to get a conversation rolling.
All right, here's a pro tip for you. This one comes from Psychology Today. Get specific. Instead of some generic compliment, notice a unique detail. You know, a cool lapel pin, the book they're holding, maybe even their funky socks. It shows you're actually paying attention, that you're present, and it makes the other person feel truly seen, not just like another face in the crowd.
And hey, when all else fails, there's always the dad joke. I love this. A reader from The Muse actually shared this gem. Is it cheesy? Absolutely. Is it a little silly? For sure. But you know what? A well-timed, lighthearted joke can be the absolute perfect way to just slice through the tension and get a laugh.
But okay, quick disclaimer here. Humor is a super powerful tool, but it's also really personal, right? So maybe save the polar bear for a more relaxed setting. The key really is to just read the room. You gotta match your opener to the vibe of the event.
Okay, so you've broken the ice. You're in. But that's just the beginning, right? The real magic, the stuff that actually builds lasting connections, that happens when you shift from just talking to truly listening. This is where a simple chat levels up into a real conversation.
This, right here, is the secret sauce. It's the superpower of every great conversationalist. Active listening. And I mean active. It's not just sitting there nodding, waiting for your turn to talk. As Wikipedia puts it, it's the intentional practice of listening to understand. It's all about showing the other person, hey, I'm here, I'm with you, I'm engaged.
So, how do you actually do it? Well, it's basically a simple 3-step loop. First, you comprehend. You really try to get what they're saying, not just the words, but the meaning behind them. Second, you retain it. You actually store it in your brain for more than 2 seconds. And finally, number 3, you respond in a way that shows you were actually paying attention.
This responding part is where you kind of show your work. You can paraphrase, right? Say something like, okay, so it sounds like the biggest challenge was, or you can clarify, ask an open-ended question like, wow, that's fascinating. Could you tell me a little more about, or you can even summarize, like, so the main takeaway for you was, all 3 of these are proof that you're not just hearing the words, you're actually understanding them.
But hold on, there's another layer to this. Active listening isn't just about the words. It's also about understanding the cultural context they're coming from. Because what's considered totally normal, polite small talk in one country could be a huge misstep somewhere else.
Let's take a super simple example, the US versus the UK. In the States, small talk is often really open, super enthusiastic, pretty casual, and personal. But in the UK, the general approach is a bit more reserved, more understated. They often stick to more neutral topics. Now, obviously, these are generalizations, right? But just knowing these tendencies can help you navigate a conversation way more smoothly. And this chart really gives you a snapshot of how different these norms can be. I mean, look at this. In a lot of Western countries, like the US or UK, the goal is this constant, fluent conversation, and silence can feel kind of awkward. But then you look at a place like Japan, where silence is actually valued. It's seen as a sign of respect, of contemplation. So the big takeaway here is to be observant, be adaptable,
And always, always lead with respect. Okay, so we've built our toolkit of awesome openers. We've dug into the art of active listening, and we've layered on some really important cultural awareness. Now let's put it all together. Let's combine all these skills into one powerful process for turning any small talk into a real, genuine connection.
It's really a simple formula when you think about it. You start with a great opener from that toolkit we built, you follow it up with genuine, active listening, and you guide the whole thing with a little bit of cultural awareness. When you bring those three things to the table, you're not just making small talk anymore. You are building relationships.
And this quote from Psychology Today just nails why this matters so much. This whole skill set, it's not just about feeling less awkward at a party. It's about building the personal trust and connection that is, and I mean this, the absolute foundation of every single successful professional relationship you will ever have.
So listen, the next time you walk into one of those rooms, don't just see a crowd of strangers. I want you to see a room that is just full of possibilities. Your next business partner, your next mentor, maybe even a great new friend could be standing right there. Your next huge opportunity is literally just one conversation away. So go on, take a deep breath, and go start talking.